Hey everyone, this is Peyton Anderson of Next Level Athletes. I'm thrilled to have Frank Crum on the podcast today. This past season, Frank appeared in all 13 games at offensive tackle for the Cowboys, as well as being selected as an honorable mention for All Mountain West by Pro Football Focus. Frank, first of all, thanks so much for coming on today.
Yeah, appreciate you for having me.
Of course. And let's start with your recruitment process coming out of high school. What did you take away most from the process looking back, but also ultimately how you ended up at Wyoming?
Yeah, man. So, as a junior, it's usually typical when you start getting recruited. And for me, it wasn't so hot. It was more small college basketball that was recruiting me more than football. I didn't have any offers my junior year, and going into my senior season, Coach Craig Bowl at Wyoming, he came to one of my games, and he was my first Division One offer. And that kind of snowballed into some other Mountain West schools. Colorado State,
Mhm.
Nevada, and Utah State were the other ones. But the big reason why I came to Wyoming was there's many reasons actually. I have a legacy here. My grandfather, my father both lettered here in football. It's my home state. I've been here since I was 4 years old. Um, so, as a kid, I'd go to games and, I always dreamed of being a Wyoming Cowboy. And then, Wyoming and Coach Bowl and his coaching staff, I mean, that was ultimately the biggest reason why I came here. It was the best fit.
Mhm. And looking back into your high school career, your first team East All Conference as an offensive lineman, as well as leading your team to the 2017 playoffs as a senior, but also played basketball. What do you miss most about high school in general, but also your all-time favorite memory?
Yeah, man. So, I miss basketball, playing it in the competitive setting. I really did enjoy basketball, but, my heart was in football.
Hmm.
A greatest memory from high school would probably be, beating Cheyenne East. We were the underdog. They were rated high in the state. We beat them on their homecoming at their place. They just got a new stadium built. Beating them was probably my best memory in high school.
Of course. And let's talk about your first time on campus and getting yourself adjusted to the program. First off, what led you to redshirt your first year?
Honestly, it wasn't my choice. And if it was back then, I probably would have refused the red shirt. You come out of high school, like everybody says, everybody's the best at their school. And
Hmm.
um, when you come to college, you got to be pretty dang humble because you're not the best anymore by a long shot. And you're so young mentally and physically. And that was my biggest thing. I was physically coming out of high school. I wasn't a big, stocky guy. I wasn't a ready to play guy yet. So just the recruitment process, like Coach Bolt took that shot on me as a young guy. And so I was
Hmm.
more of a developmental guy as far as the redshirt season went. I was not ready to play. And now looking back on it, I'm glad I didn't use a year of eligibility. Um, and I took that. There was so much growth in that first year. And, not putting pads on during a game, it sucked. But like I said, hindsight, I'm very grateful for redshirting.
Hmm. And secondly, looking back at this past season, what do you feel went well for you? What you improved on most, but also anything you might have underperformed into your liking in general?
Yeah, the game of football is, nobody's perfect at this game. Um, and if you think you have, then if you think you've arrived, man, it's an opposite story, and it'll hit someone in the face pretty quick.
Hmm.
I don't think I've arrived at anything personally. Um, this off season, I've been really focusing on honing in my pass protection. Just little technique things. It's my fifth year. Schematically, I'm pretty comfortable within our offense. It's not this, when you're younger, it's very overwhelming, all this
Hmm.
information. So now it's more just honing in on the small things that can improve my game the most.
Hmm. And when talking about recruitment, NIL deals, there's a lot that goes on off the field of social media as well in college football nowadays. But for you personally, taking your recruitment process into consideration, what kind of advice do you have to athletes in general wanting to take that next step to the collegiate level in whatever sport, but also how they can maybe get their name out to coaches and try and get themselves recognized, but also maintaining focus on whatever end goal they have in mind.
Right. That's a hard balance in high school. Everybody who plays athletics wants to keep playing at the next level, you know, and I'll start with, whatever opportunity, if one is given, no matter what level of college athletics, is be humble enough to take that. And because at that stage in your life, an athletic program at any collegiate level, it molds you as a man. And, at that age, you need that. It's a big transformation coming out of high school into college that can kind of determine your trajectory on life. And so, be humble. If you're not getting the D1 looks and, you got D2 or JUCO offers, personally, I was fully ready to do that if I didn't get the opportunity to play D1. That's kind of how I was looking for, but that'd be my biggest advice is if you get an opportunity at whatever level. And then to get to that opportunity, I'd say, the tape never lies, put out good film. And how do you start putting out good film? Personally in high school, the weight room culture was not huge in my school and with the
Hmm.
team, and I wish it was. I hated the weight room. It wasn't a place I enjoyed, and very quickly going into college, that mindset changed, and I'm very grateful for that. So live in the weight room. Have high football IQ. Do what you can to study the game, and don't be afraid to use resources around you as far as coaches or former players that have played in the next level. Reach out.
Hmm.
And like I said, just going back to the tape, just I mean that's what sells a player is good tape.
Of course. And I'm transitioning over to life off the field. What's a typical day look like for you during the season and in the off season?
Yeah, so in the season, we have a Monday through Thursday schedule of practice. It's high intensity early on. And then by the time we get to Thursday, it's pretty low physical intensity and more mental, getting into the game plan. And then Friday turns into a completely mental day. Um, we're either traveling or staying in the hotel in town and having meetings. And then you wake up and, it's game day. And, the hay should already be in the barn.
Hmm.
Um, you should mentally already be ready. And it's just at that point, it's just getting your emotions in check and being mentally sharp. And then kickoff happens. Sort of break down the day, I guess, during the season is we'll lift during the week. It's not as intense, though, as our winter and summer periods, where those we run and lift. It's like two a days, basically. You run in the morning and you lift in the afternoon, and
Hmm.
meals are sprinkled in, but a lot more free time in the off season compared to the season. And here in Wyoming, the summer's the best because it's sunny here,
Yeah.
like 3 months out of the year. Man, it's always cold here. So off season in the summer, it's more relaxed, and you get to go enjoy the outdoors. We're right on the Rocky Mountains and lakes all around us.
Of course. And additionally, let's talk about your major. What's it about, the class you've been taking for it, but more importantly, why you chose it.
Yeah, so I just graduated in May with a finance degree. Um, Finance degrees here at Wyoming, it's more math based, and I think that's why one reason why I chose the finance degree. It's a little bit harder than some other ones. It's not the hardest though. We got engineering out there.
Hmm.
Um, but math came easier to me than a ton of communication, writing, and speaking classes. I enjoyed math better. And secondly, I feel like football ends at a point for everybody. Whether you go to the next level or not, it ends. And having an education at a higher level was important to me, and a finance degree, I think, can pave the way for to have a successful life outside of football.
Hmm. And for those unaware, talk to us about your interest in real estate. How's that been for you lately? But also how you got interested in that to begin with.
Yeah, so I'm very grateful. Started off with my good family friends, the Walshes. Um, you know, my buddy Cooper, his grandfather and father are the broker of the real estate company I work for, and
Hmm.
they encouraged me and Cooper to get our license together in January of 2022. So only 7 months ago, and we banged it out. Got 10-day course, got a license, and it wasn't something that I'd probably pursue on my own, but I'm thankful that, the Walshes gave me the opportunity, but also encouraged me and Cooper to do it, their grandson. Um, and, right now it's not something I can't be a full time realtor.
Yeah.
My focus is on college football, but that's something that I can keep in my back pocket. And like I said, football ends one day, and having a real estate license is another avenue I could take,
Hmm.
and I enjoy it. We haven't done much, but we've had a little success so far, being some young realtors. But it's just something good to have in the back pocket, and I'm grateful to have it.
Of course. And going back to Wyoming and its program, what has it taught you the most over the years? But also, how would you describe the program and what they pride themselves most on, with one word or like a sentence?
Yeah, I can give you two words that come to mind. Is cowboy tough. And then if nobody's ever looked up the code of the West, it's 10 points on, it's just kind of guidance how to live. It used to be an old cowboy thing, how to live, a good blue collar life
Hmm.
with good values. And I recommend, people look up the code of the West. But, cowboy tough. We pride ourselves on running the ball here. That's our big MO is, our run game. And, trying to get 400 yards plus a game.
Hmm.
That's something we pride ourselves on, as a team, but the old line and running backs room specifically.
Of course. And I'm looking at your family. Your father and grandfather were athletes for Wyoming in the past, as mentioned before, to talk to us. What's it been like growing up with them over the years? What have you learned most from them both over time, but also what they mean to you personally in your life, in your future ahead?
Yeah, both those guys came before me at the University of Wyoming, so they knew. And unfortunately, I wasn't able. My grandfather passed in '98. I was born in 2000, so
Hmm.
everything that I know about him is from my father. And um, so I didn't get that one-on-one interaction as far as there, but guidance from my father. He went through it and he played at the next level as well. So he knows this whole process, and
Hmm.
I'm very grateful. He never, continuing the legacy here at Wyoming was my choice. He never, he's always left it in my, my ball court. It was never a pressure situation, but his wisdom and knowledge, just about not only the game but the life that comes with it. Just it's a lot to handle. You got school and football, and you got personal life to handle. And
Hmm.
he's been a really good resource for me as far as that goes.
Hmm. And additionally, when it comes to your biggest supporters in life, who has that been for you over the years? But also, if they were to be listening, what would you have to share with them?
Yeah, it'd be my father. That guy and my mother. I'm gonna put them together. They've been extremely supportive um, of my athletic endeavors, and it could have been anything, but athletics is kind of what I chose to get into the most. Ever since uh, high school and college, they've never missed a game, road or away. And another reason to tell that my dad truly is all in and cares is he was a Division 1 official. He was an umpire for football, and he did it for 20 plus years. And as soon as I got in high school, his schedule was you got to fly out before the game, you're gone. So he would have missed every single high school game of mine. So a side career of officiating he's been doing for 20 years in college football, which he loves. He was able to set it aside to come watch me play freshman high school football. And I appreciate that, and that means the world to me. And my mom, she's the support system. She brings it all together, and I love them both dearly, and I know they got my back for sure.
Of course. And looking more into off the field for you again, how would you describe the kind of person you are when off the field and in general outside of football?
Yeah, I like to enjoy the outdoors here in Wyoming. Um, we're 45 minutes away from the Snowies, called the Snowy Mountains, and it's the Rocky Mountains, and we got plains, lakes all over. So I got a little boat, I go fishing and stuff with the buddies, and I enjoy traveling to. I'm from Laramie, which is where the university is,
Hmm.
and so when everybody goes home on a break, it's like I've been here this whole time. So I
Yeah.
always try to find, go visit a family member out of state. I use those breaks a little differently. And, I like to, travel a little bit and, free time, play some video games, just
Yeah,
normal
of
college
course.
side stuff,
And in other news, you were recently named to the East West Shrine Bowl 1000. What does this mean to you? But also expand on why you feel you deserve this kind of recognition.
Yeah, the first time I heard about this was when you informed me about it, honestly.
Hmm.
A big thing of mine is I've always tried not to get into the newspapers and
Yeah.
stuff. It's obviously an honor, but I can't hang my hat on that for sure. And that's been my motto this whole time is, if you start living in the future before it happens, you got to have your goals.
Hmm.
Play at the next level. That's a goal. That's set. But you can't be living in it before it's there yet. I can't skip any of this process. And the next step in this process is to play college football at the University of Wyoming. You know, for the team and also to perfect, which is impossible, but to try and perfect my craft within this next year playing at the University of Wyoming.
And additionally, in terms of on the field, what are you most excited about with this team and the program heading into next year?
Yeah, with the team, we got a couple young offensive linemen joining us. Physically and mentally, these guys are not lacking. That's a fact. And, it's experience is going to be the biggest thing that some of these guys stepping into this role. But we're a young team, and with that comes hunger. These young guys see spots open. It's not a fifth year guy who's been starting forever. It's like, that's hard to beat that guy out.
Hmm.
Spots are open. So this off season, there's been a lot of young guys who have been really hungry, and I'm excited to see that, come to fruition. A lot of these guys play. And then, quarterback standpoint, we got a new cat in there right now. And, he's extremely athletic and he's fluid with his motions and real smooth player. And I'm excited to see what he can do for us as well. And I'm excited to protect for him and all that jazz. And defensively, I think we upgraded at some spots. And, I'm excited for, Cowboy football in 2022.
Of course. And while on the topic, when looking at the next level like the NFL, if you were asked by a scout or coach what you're capable of, what you can add to a roster, but also why they should look into you specifically, how would you respond to that?
Yeah, if they were to ask me that, right now, I'd say, I'm completely focused on Cowboy football. And I believe buying into what we have going on here and Coach Bowl and, my position coach and my offensive coordinator, uh, that is what will help me get to the next level. I'm a 6'8", 320-pound guy. I don't. It's desirable to some and not to others. But at the end of the day, it's not my choice to market myself. It's what they think and how they feel about my play and what I can bring to the table for them. It's the tape. Actions obviously speak louder than words, and I believe that. It's what can I do to put the best Frank Crum on tape.
Hmm.
Is what I'm thinking.
And when your collegiate career eventually comes to an end, how do you want to be remembered most for your time at Wyoming?
I want to be known as the guy who made it out of the small town and a scholarship guy hasn't come out of Laramie High School for Wyoming football since I think the late 70s or early 80s. And so, I want to be able to carry the Crum legacy name with pride. And, I don't want to slander. It's bigger than me. It's my last name. And that comes with three other guys, two other guys in front of me, that held that. And so I want to be remembered as, another Crum who was successful that came through Wyoming and also encouraging to the kids who it's small town, but, you work hard and, you do things right off the field, you know, there's a shot. Nothing's ever guaranteed, but it's a shot.
And last question: what kind of legacy and career do you want to leave behind in college football as a whole?
College football, man, that's a hard question. You know, I want to leave behind that, I was a hard worker, a guy that I wouldn't want to play against, a technically sound guy. Um, I mean, that's a very big
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Just a solid individual who, you know, tried to do things right and try to, be successful at this game of football that's, extremely difficult. Um, and that's probably the legacy I want to leave behind.
Of course. Once again, Frank Crum, Wyoming offensive tackle. Frank, thanks so much for coming on today. We appreciate you taking the time and wish you nothing but the best with your future, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course.